almost started down the road of trying to come up with some first level citizens in this diagram, and we decided they were too broad, so then we just started throwing things out and rearranged things as we went along, and we've kind of come up with these that set of first class citizens of concepts around curriculum design. I don't really feel we've finished. I'd say we're about 3 quarters done at least now, therefore we're happy with that. But I think what this represents are things that are important to our 3 projects and some more general stuff, which anyone could reel off if you ask them about curriculum design. So it's probably worth ignoring this class and just focusing on the interesting parts from our projects. One of the problems with this kind of thing is that it's basically a list of sort of stuff. Fundamentally, it's just an indented list, which is good in one sense because it means everything appears once, so it forces you to try to come up with discrete concepts. But on the other hand, it's these kind of, I think there's a lot of these interconnections between the concepts, and it's a little hard to deal with those sometimes. And in fact, that's probably one of the challenges of trying to represent this. Anyway, let's work our way around. Approval processes. Lots of people, our projects anyway, looking at approval processes. This is probably more familiar to you than to me, because our project is very much about the informal side of stuff, I think, which is more down here in the design process. But anyway, so we've listed some things: business plan, course teams. Yeah, this concept of the scale came up a couple of times in a couple of places. Course teams we split in new courses, redesign, and maintenance. In the course teams were constituted differently, probably, or have different terms of reference, and different tools, perhaps. Information. I put this in, so I found it interesting, but Paul talks about the justification for design decisions as separate from the end result. The design decisions themselves. It's a new idea for me, actually. It's something I haven't come across before. I think it's quite useful. And harmless. What happens after approval? Something David says that I think that is an important link, that approval processes feed in. Design continues after you've approved it, along with it in this program management. So we'll jump down there next. So the design isn't over once you've approved it. So there's I mean, under this program management, we've included some ideas of portfolio management as well. So, what are you offering students? How do you? There's 2. We haven't really captured it very well. But there was 2 sort of themes which emerged there. One was ongoing improvement of execution and delivery. How do you improve the student experience? How do you make it better? The thing that you want. You want to deliver this area of expertise. How do you keep making it better? And then there's portfolio management more broadly, in the sense of managing your university's institutional offering across a portfolio of courses. And you see this maintenance, redesign, new courses, I think, reappears on the program management. Because again, there are different mechanisms and different requirements at the different scales, I think. But on the other hand, then there's often the same. There's a big set of things which are the same to think about at each level, but in terms of formality and the procedures you have to follow in doing that, then those can be different. That's probably another one of these. Quality. This is about sort of ongoing improvements, I think. That's right. Yeah.
I can't read it.
So, resources is one that's close to my heart. That's the efficient allocation and use of resources is one of our sort of themes. And initially I wrote this tension between quality and resource, but in fact there can be creation too, I think. Sometimes you can find a win-win situation where you can do more with less. And that's great if you can find it, because it's an easy sell. I know at Cambridge, then just like everywhere else, then plenty of people are thinking about what's going to happen after October the 21st, whenever it is. So efficiency, I think this has appeared in someone else's diagram. Efficiency, we've got systems integrations, being able to tie together institutional infrastructure in a way which makes which saves people time, improves the student experience, and generally makes it easier and removes barriers to making changes. This was the idea which came up that the amount of resource allocated to the design process itself, and actually, if you don't have having tick boxes that people have to tick before they can have their design approved, at least gives them an excuse to spend time having a discussion. And if you can find a more productive way to give them a reason to license that amount of time, then that could be better. One little point that came up was underneath that was evidence-based design. How do you get past the better horse and buggy problem, which is if you ask users what they want, they tend to come up with incremental suggestions. If you want to have a radical redesign, then you have to just say, I'm a designer, I'm going to come up with something new and bold. Right. I think two areas we didn't really develop that much were the culture, and perhaps the idea that culture would be if you spread this idea throughout the organisation that you should be thinking about the student experience. Maybe you wouldn't have to provide tick boxes to legitimise that effort. And academic advisement is something I've kind of been thinking about, but it's the idea that if you modularise and offer students a huge amount of choice, then are you actually abdicating your responsibility to design a course for them?
At programme level, it's abdication.
And perhaps is your course information, should you also be thinking about academic advisement, to use an Americanism, but it's usually compact, to help them construct do their own design as well. Right, responsive design. I think we're all talking about that to a certain extent. Use different words. Responsive design, flexibility. I think we could probably do a whole with it saying around that, but I don't think there's anything contentious listed under that. I think what we only got as far as talking about the stakeholders who should have an input into that. In fact, there's a lot more stuff to add there around removing barriers and making it possible to change in a rational way.